Hey there, you have somehow stumbled upon a brand new channel called NatGo. No promises for what this channel is or is not going to be in the future, but in this video right here, I have something that I'm pretty excited about sharing. Sitting across from me is my friend Jeff, and we're going to play a match of Venkman, which is a single deck draft as you play format. What it essentially does is, well, first it uses a single deck, and then it replaces your draw step with a draft. And how does that draft work? Well, I think this flowchart that I have here succinctly explains all that. And so now that we have that covered, let's head to the match. Don't worry, I'm going to explain as we go, although that was a very good flowchart. So what you will need to do this is a deck, a pretty random selection of cards, a clue token, and 5 basic lands, one of each type. So the first thing you do is we're going to be making our opening hand. So the way that starts is you take the 5 basic lands, you shuffle them up, and you deal 2 out to each player. And then the 5th, well, I put it sort of randomly in the deck in a fashion that, I don't know, feels pretty random, at least to me. So let's see. What do we have here? So you'll see that I have an island and a swamp. So I am drafting first. I'm essentially on the draw. So I'll do the first option here. So I'm looking at the top 3 cards, and I get to choose from among these to put one into my hand, to remove one of them from the game, and then to add one to this, what I call an offer line thing. And you're adding it to the far side of it. There's a side closest to me and a side closest to my opponent. So I'm adding it to the side closest to my opponent. So now it's Jeff's turn, and he is doing the same thing, looking at the top 3. This is what I call option 1. There is going to be in a second option. And I'm not going to be talking about any strategy at this point, but okay, so he has added Battered Golem to the offer line. So now I can draft again. I can look at the top 3 cards once more. Or I could take the second option, which is to take half of the cards rounded down that are closest to me from the offer line. So right now, that would just be 1 card. That would just be the Battered Golem. So I would just going to take option 1 again and look at the top 3 cards. So here I see Butcher the Horde, Cast Out, and Sidisi's Faithful. I'm taking Cast Out. Butcher the Horde is a very reasonable pick. There's lands in this. Haven't seen any yet, but the mana fixing is quite good. So it's not unreasonable to take that and expect to be able to cast it in a reasonable time. But removal's good, so I'm taking removal. By the way, so we're going back and forth here. The way we track this is, so Jeff, my opponent, he's actually on the play. So he's going to be playing first. He's going to be taking the first turn. So that's going to be on his 4th turn. His 4th draft, oh sorry, not his 4th turn, his 4th draft. His 4th draft will actually be his first turn, and then I will take my turn. And then thereafter, your draw step is essentially replaced with one of these draft processes. Any other card drawing that happens on your turn or not is a normal card draw. It's just off the top of the deck. You only sort of get 1 draft per turn cycle. So you'll see that no one has taken from the offer line yet, so it's building up, it's growing. You can get multiple cards there. It's sort of a quantity or quality choice that you are presented with. So you'll see I just took mana fixing there. I took a Stirring Wildwood, quite good for me since it gives me 2 colors of mana I didn't have before. And I'm giving him Mausoleum Wanderer. And I like that I gave him Sidisi's Faithful before, both blue cards, because actually I know he didn't really start with an island, with a blue source. I don't know exactly what he started with, but I know he started with, from among 3 colors, the Naya colors. I know he has at least 2 of those, or he starts with 2 of those basic lands. So I have some idea of what I'm up against here that he's got. So Jeff is adding Hearthkami to the offer line. So now I'm looking at possibility to get 3 cards here. I can't cast Hearthkami right now, but it's not unreasonable to expect that I will be able to pretty soon. And Battered Golem actually works not so bad with Deadeye Righauler. I certainly wouldn't want to take it alone, but as a group of 3 cards, I think it could actually work. And by the way, there's that clue token you saw there. So I couldn't get it there, but a player can get that, and when you do, it just goes into play under your control, which you can then later sacrifice to draw a card, but a normal card. It would not be a draft. So Jeff is adding, I believe that's an Ebon Stronghold. And he leads us off with a mountain. So Ebon Stronghold plus a clue. I actually like this because there actually is a hand size. It doesn't sort of kick in until the end of your first turn, which I am taking right now. But a clue is nice because it doesn't add to my hand size, and it's this is what I sort of call the deck building phase of this draft. Some choice has to be made here. I need to lose a card. In this case, it'll be respite. But a clue is nice because it's a card that doesn't count toward my hand size. And as I think you can already see, there's a pretty weird mix of cards. I mean, that's kind of the fun. Like you put a random mix, and then the draft process can sort of sort them out. So Jeff plays a Rupture Spire. Clearly one of his picks from the deck because it's a quite good land in Venkman. And he added Floodplain to the offer line. So I could take Floodplain and In Garrick's Wake. That is not very tempting to me, so I will head back to the top of the deck. So my choice here is Fate Unraveler, Plague Boiler, and Waking Nightmare. So Waking Nightmare is an arcane spell. There is a minor arcane and spirit theme in here. Not really worth much consideration. Plague Boiler, I don't know if I'm going to need it or not. I'd rather be proactive here and just take Fate Unraveler. But Plague Boiler could get me into trouble at some point, so I will throw that one away. And Waking Nightmare, offering that to him, it's not particularly dangerous. As you can see, like it's easy to have sort of a handful of, well, at least in part, some so-so cards. So discard is not particularly scary. And that is a thing that this format makes some effects stronger, makes some effects weaker. Mana fixing, like you see that Jeff there has with Rupture Spire, pretty powerful. And in fact, any mana acceleration at all is quite good. So Jeff plays another mountain. And he plays a Pilgrim's Eye. So this is an opportunity to show that, so he's searching for a land here, and in particular an island. And I have some basic land set aside for him to search from, which is, first of all, just quicker than searching the deck. And second of all, searching, so cards that would just sort of search for anything or any specific thing, I generally don't like. Often these decks are quite big. What's on the table here is actually not even the entirety of this deck. There's singleton. Sometimes there's cards that they're just random, that neither player even know about. So I just think it's not a fun thing to do that whole big search. So with anything else, it's just searching the top 10 cards. And generally, I just avoid including those kinds of cards. Sometimes they'll sort of come in as a part of another card. So I know Sarkhan Unbroken is in this deck. So its ultimate ability, I believe, is something like search your library for any number of dragons and put them into play, I guess. So that's just basically doesn't do anything. Which, I mean, the card is fine and still good enough and interesting in this deck. So I don't think that's really a problem. But generally, I just don't include those types of cards. So here I'm playing Battered Golem. That is where we're at right now. Oh, and you also I took lands plus in Garrick's Wake. I'm fine with having that be sort of a long-term plan. Collect some lands, eventually, hopefully, cast in Garrick's Wake. And Jeff is adding steam vents to the offer line. Potentially pretty tempting. Gives me my first shot at red mana, which I will need at some point for my Hearth Kami. Jeff attacks with the Pilgrim's Eye, and I, of course, cannot block, so I will take one. And then he casts Shu Yun, the Silent Tempest. So this should work nicely with Deadeye Rig Hauler. And well, first we gotta do this draft here. I will be taking the offer line. That steam vent, I think, is just a nice pickup right there. And then Sidisi's Faithful is actually quite strong. That's another effect that gets more powerful in Venkman. Bounce when there's more cards entering people's hands, and then so things can get sort of bottlenecked there. So bounce can be pretty powerful. So attack with Battered Golem, and as I would expect, no trade. But that's nice because it leaves me a good target for Deadeye Rig Hauler. And pass turn. So one thing you'll see is there's been quite a bit difference in the cards that Jeff and I have been, or the way we've been handling the draft. I'm not sure that Jeff has gone once to the offer line. So that actually means that some of the cards that I put into the offer line I'm ending up with. Jeff had the first shot at them, but he sort of passed on them. So they're making their way over to me. But the idea is that Jeff might make up for that. That may make up for that lack of quantity with some quality. So he attacks with Pilgrim's Eye again, and I'll take it. And then he casts Soliton. Well, I can't say that he picked up much quality there. I'm sure he was kind of disappointed with that pick. But it's not terrible against me. It's blocking my my Deadeye Rig Hauler. So Auriok Blade Warden is the card in the offer line for me. Certainly not interested in that. So I'm looking at the top three. Got Titan Forge, Utopia Tree, and Island. Utopia Tree, Titan Forge, I normally sort of, I don't think it's a very useful effect, very slow. But here it actually would untap my Battered Golem. I could perhaps then cast Sidisi's Faithful along with it, bounce the Soliton. Seems not so bad. But I think a more reliable game plan here is just to eventually cast in Garrick's Wake, which I've already got in my hand. So I'm going to be taking Utopia Tree here, and then leave him with the Titan Forge, which I think will not do much for him. So here I'll play Steam Vent tapped and Fate Unraveler. So something to say about this card is that the draft, whatever happens with the draft, it just counts as a single draw. So whether you look at the top 3 cards or take a bunch of cards from the offer line, either way, single card draw, single point of damage. So now it's Jeff's turn. He takes the damage from the Fate Unraveler. He's at 16, I'm at 18. Looks like he had an easy pick for himself there. And the card he's offering to me is Suruk, the Hunt Caller. Comes in again with Pilgrim's Eye, and of course I'll take it, go to 17. And now he'll cast Soul of the Harvest. Pretty good card. I'm going to want to answer that in some way. And I do have some options here. I've got Cast Out already in my hand. I also have Sidisi's Faithful. Could just buy some time and bounce it. So as for the draft, I make a mistake here. I take Suruk and Auriok Blade Warden with the idea that I was going to spend this turn casting Utopia Tree and Cast Out. But that was before I realized that both my green and my white mana were coming from the same source. So that plan wasn't going to happen. I still want to remove Soul to Harvest. I use Cast Out to do that. I think, in retrospect, it would have been better to use Sidisi's Faithful. In fact, I should just... Sidisi's Faithful is quite powerful here, whatever it's bouncing. Or Soliton or Soul to Harvest. I should be casting it, I believe. But instead, Cast Out on Soul to Harvest. And I've got 2 other mana, but actually I could have used to cast Hearth Kami, but I'm leaving them up instead to sacrifice the clue, draw a card. I think Hearth Kami will eventually be pretty good, even at 7 mana to destroy a Soliton. I mean, give me some attacks. So Jeff is adding Desert of the True to the offer line. And Jeff is casting Elspeth, Sun's Champion. A pretty strong card, so he is getting some good ones. And of course he's using the first ability, making 3 soldiers. And I'll start my turn. Useful thing to note here is that he did not play a land. He's got more lands in his hand. And I'm going to go back to the top because unfortunately I did a little bit punished here that I use the cast out. Well, first here, for the sacrificing the clue, I drew up the Noggle Hedge Mage. So I had the Steam Vent, so that's only one mountain, so I don't have the mountain ability. I do actually have 3 islands, so I do have the tapping part, which could be good. Could be a piece of taking care of Elspeth. But looking for a quicker answer here. And the choice here is Island, Night Howler, and Trader's Clutch. Night Howler is normally a fine card, but right here it's pretty terrible. There's no creatures in either graveyard. Whereas Trader's Clutch, not really a good card, but in this situation, kind of clutch. It can give a creature +1/+0 and Shadow, which on one of my 3-power creatures, plus the damage from Fate Unraveler, would be enough to kill Elspeth. So that actually works quite nicely for me. And then now, especially since I know that Jeff has no more lands in his hand, that makes Night Howler a pretty easy choice to put in the offer line. So I will cast Trader's Clutch on the Deadeye Righauler. Come in for 4 on Elspeth. Elspeth drops to 1. And I will pass the turn, and Elspeth is killed by Fate Unraveler. So Jeff is now adding he added Mountain to the offer line. He's attacking with Pilgrim's Eye. So I think it is interesting. I think clearly Jeff and I are valuing the offer line quite differently, or at least, or however you want to look at it, looking at the top 3 cards. Neither of us have actually played with this deck before, and you know, it takes a little bit of experience to sort of calibrate the right I don't know, what the proper size the offer line should be before you head that direction. I don't know which of us is right, but clearly there's a difference. Because here, once again, I'll take 3 cards from the offer line. None of them great, but they are getting me closer to In Garrick's Wake. Still sort of a long-term plan. Oh, and by the way, Jeff, he's recast the Sultan and has played a Narnam Cobra. Okay, here, unfortunately, I lost quite a bit of tape, or stopped recording. So let me sort of fill you in on what happened this turn, because it was actually quite a bit. I cast Sidisi's Faithful, bouncing Sultan, sacrificing the Battered Golem. I cast the Noggle Hedge Mage, dealt 2 to Jeff, tapped the Cobra and the Shu Yun. I attacked with Wretched Hag, there's no blocks. And then I also cast Utopia Tree and Mausoleum Wanderer, and then there's another damage from the Hag, so that was 6 damage total. So end result is the board you see, and Jeff at 9, me at 16. Now, and I'm also, let's see what Jeff is casting here. Sultan, of course. And a Stampede Driver. But my plan here is pretty obvious. I already have enough mana to cast In Garrick's Wake if I'm sacking the Ebon Stronghold. And I can also get that Plains if I really want that. So now it comes down to 1 card, really, I think. which is foil, which actually I know is in this deck. So that is a counter spell that has an alternate casting cost. So the question is, in all those looking at the top of the deck that moves he's done, has he come across that card? And he has not. So he scoops. That's game one. I come in for a bunch of damage there. That's 9 damage. Exactly 9 damage. That does it. And on to game two. Okay, here we are for game two. I'm on the play this time. Right now we're just sort of alternating that back and forth, who's on the play and who's on the draw. I think that'll probably change eventually, but I don't know. It's not quite... I mean, I'm pretty sure that being on the play is better. So, anyway, you can see there I'm starting with a mountain and a plains, red-white. And Jeff puts down Cankerous Thirst in the offer line. Which is a pretty good card. I look at the top three. I see Slitherblade, Oof Vandals, and Temple of Enlightenment. So Temple of Enlightenment, something worth talking about there. It has Scry. So in Venkman, Scry works a little bit differently. So first of all, you have a choice. So you can use it the way it's written, the way it normally works. But the issue is that that's sometimes not super useful. So it does have an alternate way you can use it, which is it deals with the offer line. So Scry 1 would mean you could take the closest card in the offer line, closest card to you, and replace it with a face-down card from the top of the deck. Scry 2 would be the closest to. And if there's any already face-down cards, then you get to look at them first and then replace them if you want. So it's a way to sort of hopefully upgrade things in the offer line. So what do we here? What do we have? Silver Inlaid Knife, the Flame of Keld, an Island. Knife is fine, I guess. Flame of Keld, I don't know. Like, this is the kind of one where, well, I just want to see Jeff do something with that. So, seems unlikely that he'll be able to, but if he can, more power to him. So I'm sending that to him. Let's see. Previously, he put Downhill Charge in the offer line for me. So, yeah, that hadn't been worth. The Cankerous Thirst plus Downhill Charge. I mean, almost all the value there is in the Cankerous Thirst, which I can't cast any part of. So far, it was not a take. And Jeff is not taking it either. So it'll be 3 cards to me in the offer line. Definitely going to be looking for a creature. Maybe not that creature. He adds a Steel Wall to the offer line. I'm not going to take that. It just still does not do much for me. Okay, here we get a choice between Gore Swine, Vraska the Unseen, and Mana Confluence. Well, this is a tough one. I mean, Vraska is the best card here. Although we don't have any of the mana to cast her, which probably means Mana Confluence is going to be the one I want. Giving him Gore Swine, well, in the offer line, which is, potentially dangerous if I got no creatures whatsoever. And yeah, I'm going to take the Mana Confluence. Going to work on improving my mana before I take the powerful off-color card. So Jeff is going to take from the offer line there. And from the top of the deck, I see Palace Siege, Foreboding Ruins, and Temple of the False God. Palace Siege is, I think, the most... I'm very heavy on the mana so far, so I need some kind of action. Palace Siege does the job. Between the two of these, he's been offering a lot of I'm not sure which of these is better. I'm choosing to give him Temple the False God. Might be a mistake. I don't know. Both seem like pretty good lands for him, potentially. So I will play Temple of Enlightenment, and I'm going to scry away the Steel Wall. So that's getting replaced with a random card. And Jeff is taking the Temple plus the Clue. And then he's playing an Island and Slitherblade. And the choice to me is Rupture Spire, Barrel Down Sokenzen, and Vigilance. I mean, that Palace Siege does need 2 black mana, so Rupture Spire is, I suppose, not the worst for me. I'm getting kind of tired of the mana fixing here. But yeah, Vigilance, whatever. And I mean, neither of those cards were particularly threatening, but he can use Vigilance if he wants. So I'll play Rupture Spire. So Jeff is adding Hissing Quagmire to the offer line. I don't know, more good lands. And he's also playing a Temple of his own to get rid of Vigilance. That's, I guess, what he got rid of. And attack me, of course. So I still would like a creature. Hissing Quagmire kind of provides that, and I can hope that this face down card is one. And it is. Not a great one, but it is one. Graven Abomination. Kind of just in time, since I know next turn he could at least cast, what's his name? Goreswine. So I'll cast that Abomination and pass the turn. A tough choice there for him, I guess. So one question is, let's see, what's he adding there? It's a Guardian of Solitude. Not great. So I was thinking, so one thing to think about is when I play Palace Siege, which mode I'll be putting it in. I think with this general lack of creatures, I think actually I don't know, whichever mode it is that lets you sort of do a raise dead every turn, is probably going to be the most useful for me, I think. So he will play Goreswine. And then the choice of the offer line. So this is not a great offer. Downhill Charge and Guardian of Solitude. But I do need things to equip my dagger to. I would like them. I do need things to recur with Palace Siege. And also, that there's that Cankerous Thirst sitting there, which I would like to sort of bring over to my side. So I am going to take from this offer line. It's maybe it's a questionable decision, possibly. But I'm taking it. And I'll play the Guardian. Play the dagger. And play the Quagmire. Tapped. There, I passed the turn already. There was a question of attacking with the Abomination. I mean, what I want more than anything right here is a trade. I'm not sure if you would trade the Abomination for the Gore Swine. I don't care that much about getting the damage in. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to trade. Him not blocking would actually be, I think, kind of bad news, because then he'd be unlikely to attack me with the Gore Swine, so I'm not sure how I'd be getting the trade. But he will attack me with the Slither Blade and not the Gore Swine, so perhaps I will have to attack into him. He's going to sacrifice the clue. And play Slippery Karst. My turn, I'll look at the top three. And choice between Blood Rage Brawler, Dryad Militant, and Zombie Infestation. I don't know. Again, I just want sort of creatures I can recur, potentially. So I think Blood Rage Brawler is the most useful to me. It's the most impactful as well. Zombie Infestation, it takes 3 cards before you can get a single 2/2. So I don't think it's going to be too scary. So I'll play my 5th land, Plains. I'll attack first before he knows what's going on with the Palace Siege, or before he knows about the card at all, really, that I have it. And he will trade, which is good news. So, playing Palace Siege. And I'm choosing cons, doing the raised dead mode, as that pretty much indecipherable piece of paper indicates. And Jeff puts Fettergeist into the offer line on my side. Not bad at all. And Jeff plays Stormbreath Dragon, which is a big deal, really. It really kind of changes this game quite a bit. So I take 5 damage here. All right. So now I'm gonna need an answer to that. That's a problem. So one answer is in the offer line. The Fettergeist can block it. Maybe if I can get the dagger on it, that'd be enough to trade with it. Except, if you remember previously, a move I've made I think is going to come back to bite me here, which I gave him Temple of the False God. So he could cast that next turn and immediately use Monstrosity. So putting it sort of out of range of dagger plus Fettergeist. That doesn't mean Fettergeist is necessarily a terrible move, because I could still jump block it every turn, or for at least for a while, using Palace Siege to just bring it back every turn. And actually, it might not even cost that much more to do that. I mean, the card has sort of this upkeep cost anyway. So that's my plan, is to chump it for a while and see if I can... Well, here, let's see. I'd have to discard... I'm playing Blood Rage Brawler as well. And so I will discard Graven Abomination, because I will be able to bring that back, although I expect that I will be bringing back the... what's his name? Fettergeist instead. But, I don't know. Hopefully, thinking maybe between the Fettergeist, the Dagger, the Downhill Charge, perhaps I can get 7 damage together, enough to actually hold off the dragon or kill the dragon. I don't know. That's putting a lot of pressure on my mana, so we'll see. I expect just chumping it is probably going to have to be the more likely plan. So Jeff is adding Condescend, which is the offer line for me. Pretty useless for me. And as expected, plays the Temple of the False God and is using the Monstrosity ability. So I take 2. I got 2 cards in my hand. And more importantly, Dragon becomes 7/7. So he comes in with both. And I will jump. So one question is whether the other mode for Palace Siege would have been better, and I don't think so. I don't think I would not have any blockers for the dragon in that case. It just seems too slow, too little impact on the board. I don't think that would not have worked. I guess I'd forgotten to take damage from the Slither Blade, but I do take that. Okay, nice view of my shirt. Excellent shirt right there. This is terrible. This is not good. 3 lands: Unstable Frontier, Vivid Grove, and Floodplain. And the only one of these that could maybe be beneficial is Unstable Frontier, because it can give me another mountain for Downhill Charge, I guess. I don't know. This is unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate. So I will play that. Again, play the Fettergeist. Equip the Guardians with the knife and attack with the Brawler and it. So I may build a race here. I'm not doing a terrible job of it. So Jeff will take Vivid Grove plus Zombie Infestation. And he will play Cough, which seems pretty unfortunate, really, all things considered. And Singing Bell Strike on my Fettergeist, which is going to tap it. So that is now a lot of damage. In fact, enough damage to kill me. That is 12 damage that I cannot stop. So that is game 2. Jeff wins that one. We're going to be 1-1. And On to game 3. Okay, here we are for game 3, this deciding game of this inaugural match. Stakes are enormous. What did I start with? I started with green-black as my starting lands. Riverbow looks good pretty here. The other side. Countryside Crusher is also choice. Blossoming Sands. But there's a good chance he already has Island. I can cast Riverbow right now. Just pretty good early creature. The card to give him, Blossoming Sands will definitely give him access to green mana. Give him a double red. Countryside Crusher. So I'm on the draw again. As I said before, we're just sort of alternating. Something to say about Countryside Crusher, the percentage of land in this deck is, I believe, like around 27-28%. So, as far as just triggering off the top of the deck, it'll happen less often than it would in a normal deck. So he adds Dryad Militant to the offer line, which I will just take. So there's a thing there about taking when there's only 3 cards in the offer line. Probably a bad move, probably a little hasty on my part. He actually can't deny it to me. When there's 2 cards or 3 cards, the card closest to you in the offer line, it can't be denied to you. So the only reason to do it is if you need it right away, which I clearly don't. It's the opening, we're drafting opening hand. Or you can also, it also delays the opportunity that the opponent's going to have to get 2 cards. So right here, he could have, if I had taken from the top 3, he would have had an option of taking 2 cards from the offer line. Instead, he doesn't. So that is perhaps a reason to not take, to take when there's 3. But in the opening draft, I think still not. I probably should not have taken it there. So choice here is Island, Forsaken Sanctuary, and Barrel Down Sokensen. Forsaken Sanctuary, I think is pretty good. Gives me a 3rd color and a 2nd black, which could be useful. And of the other 2, well, so Island could be very nice because it could give him a guaranteed island for Riverboa, but he may already even have it, and I just don't really like giving lands out early on. And Barrel Down Sokensen, I mean, it's a removal spell, I suppose, but not a great one. But there, he just took 2 red cards, so he's pretty much, I think, revealed that he has at least a mountain. He started with a mountain. So 3 cards here to look at: Ebon Stronghold, Vraska the Unseen, and Stenzia Bloodhall. I'll take the Vraska. I'm gonna have the mana to cast it, most likely. And of the other 2, mana sinks are not very good because you have so many cards. So Stenzia Bloodhall certainly makes sense as the cards that offer. Especially when the other one, Ebon Stronghold, is just sort of extra mana as well, potentially. So sort of other 2 sides of the mana thing. As in, what am I trying to say? One provides it, one asks of it. So he's added Psychic Puppetry to the offer line, and the card before that was Nether Trader. Not very good cards. I know he played Treetop Village. Another great shot on my shirt. And we have Aura Gorger, Death Mutation, and Disdainful Stroke. I'll take Death Mutation. It's very expensive, but it's very good. And I'm giving him Aura Gorger, which I think could be a mistake. I think I was a little bit distracted by Aura Gorger's just blatant badness. Whereas Disdainful Stroke, I mean, if you know the opponent has it, it's not hard to play around it. So I think that might have been the better. And I know he's, again, got at least 1 red mana. So he will take that offer. And I played Dryad Militant. And Rejoice, he has played an island. My Riverboa is very happy, has a river to play in. And he passes again. I'll look at the top 3. Get Spitting Spider, Cankerous Thirst again, and Wrathy Dragon. Cankerous Thirst is sort of fitting in very nicely with this green-black thing I'm doing. Okay, even if he has a mountain, I think Wrathy Dragon is a safe give. And I'll attack with Dried Militant. Although I guess it is the Wrathy Dragon is if he can get those mountains together, it is a combo with Countryside Crusher. We'll see. So I play Riverbow. No, he does not want the Wrathy Dragon. And he's adding a Plains to the offer line and playing an Inspiring Vantage. And Pilgrim's Eye. So he's getting another land here. Now land will be a swamp, which will not go into play. Well, that kills my attack with Dried Militant. But not the Riverbow. Look at the top three. Mana Confluence, Hissing Quagmire, Singing Bellstrike. Hissing Quagmire, I'll have the mana to activate it. Again, I don't know, it just sort of, it goes with this Golgari thing I've got happening here. And of either two, Singing Bellstrike, as we saw, pretty good, can be a pretty good removal spell. So I'm giving him Mana Confluence. Attacking with Riverbow, he goes to 16. I'll play the Quagmire. So Jeff will take the offer line, Clue plus Mana Confluence and Wrathy Dragon. And he will play Countryside Crusher. So, Slippery Karst, Mountain, Zombie Infestation. So, here, Mountain gives me my fourth color. I want that. Between these two, I think Zombie Infestation here could get out of hand. If he's got a handful of lands, I believe he's got quite a few cards in hand here as well. So I'm giving him Slippery Karst, even though that will activate Countryside Crusher. I think it's less dangerous. Yeah, actually, yeah, he's got 7 cards in hand, and he's also got the Clue. So basically 8 cards. So Zombie Infestation could be scary. So I'm leaving mana up here for Cankerous Thirst on Countryside Crusher if I have to use it. The unfortunate part there is it will leave Riverbow open to a card I know he has, Barrel Down Sokenton. But I don't know, maybe I won't need the, maybe I won't need the Cankerous Thirst. We'll see. Hopefully I won't. So he reveals the top card there to Countryside Crusher's ability, which is Blood Rage Brawler. So here he's got a very interesting decision, I think. So he's got the Clue, so he can just get the top card of the deck no matter what. And he's also got the Slippery Karst, so he can get it no matter what there as well. And Slippery Karst activates Blood Rage Brawler, so is potentially Blood Rage Brawler. I don't there's a lot going on there, but he looked at the top 3. And he will play the Brawler, discarding the Mana Confluence. So I'll kill the Countryside Crusher in response. I mean, I'll give the Riverboa +3/+3 as well, but he unfortunately did play a mountain. He played a land first, so he's got the mana to use the barrel down Sunkenson, so he takes care of that, unfortunately. But I think I just had to deal with. I mean, maybe I didn't. Who knows? Who knows? And he'll attack with the Pilgrim's Eye. Oh, by the way, let's see. He added Dovescape to the offer line for me. A tough one to make use of. I mean, arguably makes Death Mutation better. Maybe, possibly. Let's see. So, Koth with the Hammer, Stormbreath Dragon, or Hinterland Harbor. So Koth is not gonna. Well, I mean, I do have one mountain. I mean, I'll need a second red source for either of these powerful red cards. But if I'm gonna cast one of them, I think I prefer it be the dragon. So I will take the dragon. And then the card to offer him, well, I know he's got 2 red mana plus a mountain, so it'll be Hinterland Harbor. I will play Forsaken Sanctuary and do nothing else. Jeff will take from the offer line. It was Hinterland Harbor, Slippery Karst, Nether Trader. Oh, sorry, small earthquake there. He will attack with Blood Rage Brawler, and I could activate Hissing Quagmire here and block, but I don't have a 6th land, so that would keep me off of Vraska. I will just take it here. So he's got Quarry Beetle to bring back Mana Confluence. So 2 4-power creatures is no joke. Look at the top 3 here. We have Dread Statuary, Palace Siege, and Unstable Frontier. Unstable Frontier gives me the ability to cast Storm Breath, so I do like that here. Palace Siege just seems maybe too slow at this point, so I'm going to get rid of that. Dread Statuary is not bad, but I got to give him one of these cards, so that's what it'll be. And Jeff's counting his mana, always a bad sign. So this is a tough spot. So I played the Unstable Frontier. I played Vraska. Vraska is basically just a removal spell because one of the cards he got off the offer line, Nether Trader. I know he has that. So it's a 1/1 Shadow with haste. So between that and Pilgrim's Eye, if I use it as a removal, which I need to, pretty much. Again, maybe I don't know. So I am using it as removal here. I'm going to take out the Quarry Beetle. I mean, perhaps my plan is to use the Stormbreath Dragon as as a card to actually win this game. But another option would be to actually just cast the dragon just as a blocker, just to kill one of those big creatures, and then cast Vraska next turn, or then use Vraska next turn. Although Vraska's gonna die either way. Well, no, I guess it could. Then the dragon could stay back to block the Pilgrim's Eye. I'm not so sure. Let's see. So he put Coral Atoll into the offer line. I can play that using the Unstable Frontier. So he will play the Ore Gorger. And then lose a life from the mana column was to play the Nether Trader. Ugh, and it's a spirit. that triggers the Ore Gorger to destroy a non-basic land. Very unfortunate. So Jeff is attacking Vraska with the Pilgrim's Eye and the Nether Trader, and me with the Blood Rage Brawler. Although here now, Jeff is reconsidering whether it's worth killing Vraska at all. And he decides, yes, Vraska will die. And I take 4 from the Brawler. Okay, top 3 cards here. Guardians of Tazim, Steel Wall, and Angelic Destiny. So, I'll just tell you now. It turns out only one of these cards can keep me alive. So, it's not Guardians of Tazim, can't cast it. And it's not Angelic Destiny. Because there is a card in the offer line. So I do take Angelic Destiny. And I will cast it in hopes of having just a big blocker. But yeah, sitting there in the offer line is a card called Psychic Puppetry, which will be my undoing. Missed that entirely. But Jeff did not. And so now he's showing here that he has the Treetop Village, so that plus 5, 9, 12 damage. It'll be 12 damage that I'm not going to be able to block. And he's going to get to destroy one of my lands. Add insult to injury. So I'm just getting him to actually show the kill here. But basically, that's it. We'll cut to the chase. Congratulations, Jeff. He wins the first match of Venkman, first public match of Venkman on this channel. So good job to him. I hope to have more of these videos. I'm gonna try. We'll see. But this is Venkman. I hope you found it interesting. I certainly find it interesting to play it. Challenging. I think I make mistakes quite often, but it's something I enjoy. So comment, let me know what you think, especially about if I made any mistakes during the game. But aside from that, thanks to Jeff again. Also thanks to Dallas Games Marathon, which is where this game was played. This match was played. I'll put a link to that in the description to this, and I'll be putting like the full rules, I suppose, to Venkman in the description. And so check out that Dallas Game Marathon if you're in the area. And that's it. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.